Good morning, friends. I hope you're well. Today we're going to talk about double paired assets. Now, when you yield farm them, there's probably a better name for them, or there's an actual name for them. But I call them double paired assets. So they are basically anything that's not a stable coin mixed with something else as a pair. So take, for example, I would class Eustace and Solana as one, but Solana's the liquidity pair 99% of the time. But I'm talking about Coinbase's Bitcoin and Solana. Ethereum with BNB. Yeah, a meme coin with a meme coin. Fart coin with Popcat. Something like that. Now, we're going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of them. And we're going to talk about how you can actually farm some meme coins together. Because believe it or not, when you farm things as a pair, you end up with more volatility and therefore more yield, but slightly higher risk. So take, for example, this one. Bitcoin and Solana is probably one of my favorite pools. I've been in range for this, believe it or not, since about 2 months, and it hasn't gone out of range. It is dipping in and out now, but I'm going to have to readjust it. But for now, we're going to keep it going. So let's take a look at the chart and see what it looks like. And I'll explain why these actually stay in range together, why that's not always a good thing as well. So you can see here, since like July, which is about 3 months ago, 2.5 months ago, it's pretty much a 22-23% range. Let's say 25 to be safe. So I know for the next 3 months, a 25 to 30% range is likely to hold. Historically, it hasn't moved. I mean, we had a bit of a pump when Solana sort of moved. So in a 3 month period, you're always looking at about 20%. Yeah. And even down here is a 3 month period is 20%. So have a look at the chart. It's not going to always be the case, but you can come in and say, I can farm this long term, accumulate some Bitcoin and Solana as well. Now, the only bad side is you don't just get impermanent loss if you go out of range. You also get what's called the assets dropping together, I guess. So let's say I'm in range here and I don't look too much at it. And I'm like, I'm in range, that's fine. And you leave it for a few weeks, even 3 months, like we talked about. You're kind of losing value in your assets when they can drop together and still stay in range. So you start to think, okay, that's not bad. I'll leave them. They're still in range, etc. They can start to drop together. And on the upside, they can also move up together, which is what I've had for the last few months with this pool. I'm sure it was $100 pool I started it with, and I've compounded it. But now I'm taking the Bitcoin and I'm sending it to an exchange and just stacking on top of my Bitcoin that I already have. Now, let's take a look at memes. So, memes together are also very good. And I don't do too much of it, but I should really do a lot more. Now, I'll give an example. So, I think Fartcoin and Popcat was one of the better pools on Meteora. Let's see. So, here's the Fartcoin Popcat. This had a massive TVL. I'm sure I've made it in other videos before. And volume wise, we can see Popcat Solana is 0.1%, but Frog Popcat is 0.14. Yeah, this one has no TVL, no volume. But if you think about it, these memes, where you make your money is the price changing, the volatility when you yield farm. It's not actually the volume. The volume can be a billion, but if the price isn't changing on all the different pools, you won't have people using your pools and getting routed through it. So you must also pair them together and be aware that when Popcat goes up, Fartcoin goes down. Yeah, and then people will buy the Popcat from your pool with Fartcoin, and they will then sell on another pool or hold it because it's the cheaper option. So Jupiter does that automatically. So it's not like people are like sitting there all day and saying, "Oh, I've got some Popcat. Let me try and buy some whiff with it." And it's not like that. Most places route automatically. I've had pools of mine used for random tokens I never heard of because I have Solana in there and it's wanted the Solana. So here is another example. Let's say, for example, you want a really high risk one. And let's go down. Let's take, for example, these two. Now, if we were to buy $10 or $100 of each, and then I was to say, I'm going to make a pair with these two, they would automatically accumulate way more yield than if I paired it with a stable coin or Solana. 100% more, because both the pairs are going to be moving. Well, we can even have a look, like even in the last 15-20 minutes, it's moved 60%. This one probably has moved similarly. So if you add that together, you've had an 80% price movement on both the pools. Now, if you can find two pools, two pairs that align together and somehow move together, is where you're going to get the stability from and you're going to get the gains from. I'll give you an example. So every single, let's just take a look on like Solana. What would what would be likely to move together? So maybe pump and bonk together, because when the launch pads are moving well together, typically they do as well. You can also pair DEX tokens together, Jupiter and Cake maybe. So if DeFi is doing well, they might actually move together as well. DEX tokens, so Radium and Jupiter will be a good one. Radium and Orca are also another paired idea you can pair together. Or if you think like this was launched around the same time as this one and it's listed on the same market, same markets like central exchanges, and then you think, okay, they're about the same-ish market cap, you can do that. If it's a cat meta, pair the cat ones together, Popcat, etc. Baby Doge and Dog, they could go well together. Not just the name, because they're of the same sort of meta. Whatever drives the first one will drive the other one. Melania and Trump together. I don't think they move together, but you get the idea of it. Yeah. And Giga and Stigma was also a very good one because it's that meta that follows together. So please bear in mind, if you see like, if you ever see two coins of the same name PvP in each other, yeah, pair them together. Don't just yield farm one and think, okay, I'm gonna rinse off both of them. There will always be one winner. Now the question becomes of, do you do a full range position? So do you come here to Popcat and Whiff? Because they move well together. They actually move in sync together, actually, typically. Should you do a full range or should you do a range like concentrated range? My personal opinion is you either want to split it so it's okay, you've got a full range and I'm going to put $70 in and then I'm going to do a custom range of $25 instead of just whacking in 100 into full range. The reason is you're going to get pretty much the same yield from the $25 as the $70, but the $70 is going to be, if the price changes dramatically, you're still going to be earning yield, and on the flip side you won't be if the concentrate goes out of yield. So always have a look at the pair together. Has this moved together? To me, up here, I don't know which one of them. I think it was Whiff started moving crazy and it went out of range. So, or it would have been out of range. So here you can kind of think, okay, if this is the normal range, we can kind of go in with maybe a 40%. Yeah, and then we can kind of get that with it. But again, yield is quite low, so you might want to obviously cut that down to 25, something like that, and do a full range with it as well. So this video is genuinely keep in the back of your mind. I'm not saying go out there and start farming. Oh, look, we've got Popcat and I'm going to stick Popcat and this one together. No, it's not the case. But be smart with it. This is where the really good yield farmers come in and they're starting to say like, okay, Bitcoin and Solana. Here's one that I found. Yeah. So you have, or I'm going to start to make. Look, the S&P 500 is tokenized now. So I was thinking, grab this, go over to here, and what you can tend to do is we're going to use our S&P 500 and we're also going to use Bitcoin because they typically move together, Bitcoin and the S&P. So we can start to say, okay, I'm going to go in with this and I'm going to use that price and I'm going to pair them together. So I earn obviously or S&P 500, which I'll obviously sell straight away, and I'll keep the Bitcoin. You can do a full range. I'll whack in, I don't know, 0.0001. And then I'll say $200 on a full range, and then I'll do my custom range after that. That's what I've got planned. You can also do that. You can also do like stuff that moves together, like Tesla and Nvidia also move together. So we've got Tesla and we've got Nvidia. Or you can do micro strategy as well with Bitcoin. They moves together. They're the things you want to do because long term they move up together and they move down together. Now be very aware. Remember what I said at the start of the video. You do not want to be in a pair. It might be in range, but you don't want them going in. This is probably why at this point in the market, I'm not looking at double paired assets at the moment. Simply because it's something you do when the market's very flat, or I think they're going to rise together. Because you'll make most of your money on not on the yield, you'll make it on the assets appreciating, especially if you've earned the yield from it. You're going to get a lot more. So be creative with it. Try it out. If you're making a pool yourself that hasn't got an asset like, I don't know, what did we say? Bitcoin and S&P. So it does have a pair actually. So the TVL is here, but the yield, the fee is too high. S&P moves 1% a day if it's crazy. So getting in a zero point 0.3, no one's really going to use your pool unless there's a major crash with it. Even this doesn't have enough TVL in it. So always put at least 100. If you can put $1,000, perfect. It will get used on a low fee. Now use the adaptive fee because even if you do a 0.02 like this one, the adaptive fee, the volume will push it up anyway. It doesn't matter. So you want to try and attract people to use your pool and get routed through to collect the fees and grow the pool. Over time, give you a 3 month period, pick a pair carefully, and you can do very well. I made a lot from Render and Soul many months ago. And that's pretty much how I sort of got interested big time into, apart from the meme coins, into yield farming because I was creative with it. So I hope this video has been helpful. I wish you all the best and take care.